Welcome to our in-depth analysis of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, a confrontation that has drawn global attention and shaped modern military strategies. In this video, we'll explore the background of the Minsk Agreements, their impact on the Ukrainian army, and the response from the Russian army. We'll also examine how NATO factors into the equation, the role of President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, and the decisions made by Vladimir Putin leading up to the Russia-Ukraine invasion. Join us as we unpack the complexities behind these agreements and the broader geopolitical landscape. In 2014, conflict erupted in the Donbas region of eastern Ukraine. Many reports indicated that Russia deployed regular troops under the guise of separatists. From the outset, it was evident Ukraine faced a much larger, better-equipped adversary. In an effort to prevent further losses, Kyiv entered negotiations. On September 5, 2014, under significant military pressure and with OSCE mediation, the first Minsk Agreement was signed, calling for an immediate ceasefire. 2 weeks later, an additional memorandum was adopted. However, as talks proceeded, Russian-backed forces reportedly continued to advance, shifting the front line against Ukraine. The parties also agreed on local elections in the occupied territories under Ukrainian law. Kyiv planned these for December 2014, but a month earlier, forces aligned with Russia held their own elections, which many viewed as a violation of the deal. Moscow used this move to legitimize its proxies. A similar scenario unfolded in 2018. Internationally recognized elections never took place. Still hoping for peace, Kyiv was compelled to sign a second Minsk Agreement on February 12, 2015, this time with Germany and France involved. It was not entirely new, but rather an attempt to enforce the original accord amid continued military pressure. Here is what the second Minsk Agreement outlined. 1. Immediate ceasefire starting February 15, 2015. Never fully implemented. Both sides accused each other of ongoing attacks. 2. Withdrawal of heavy weapons by both sides to create a demilitarized zone of about 50 kilometers. Implementation was partial, shelling reportedly continued. 3. OSCE monitoring and verification. Russia restricted OSCE access to certain occupied areas, according to multiple reports. 4. Dialogue on local elections to be held under Ukrainian law and OSCE standards. In practice, Russia's proxies organized separate elections in 2018, contravening the agreement. 5. Pardon and amnesty for individuals involved in the conflict. Ukraine passed relevant laws, but hostilities persisted. 6. Prisoner exchange based on the all-for-all principle. Some exchanges occurred, but were frequently disrupted. 7. Humanitarian access for international organizations to assist civilians. Access was often obstructed, hindering aid delivery. 8. Restoration of socio-economic ties. Kyiv to resume pension payments and banking services in occupied areas. Difficult to implement without secure territorial control. 9. Restoration of Ukraine's border control to take effect after local elections. Not fulfilled. De facto control remained with Russia-backed forces. 10. Constitutional reform in Ukraine granting Donbas a special status through decentralization. Ukraine took partial steps, but renewed fighting undermined further progress. Despite repeated violations by Russia-backed forces, President Putin insisted Ukraine must comply, claiming there was no alternative. He used a controversial phrase, widely interpreted as referencing sexual violence, stating, "Like it or not, endure it, my beauty," to underscore his demand. For many observers, the Minsk process served as a temporary measure that allowed Russia to consolidate its position in Donbas. Over 200 rounds of negotiations and around 20 ceasefires failed to secure lasting peace. Ultimately, on February 21, 2022, Russia recognized the so-called DPR and LPR as independent, and 3 days later launched a full-scale invasion. These events suggest that negotiations with Russia often break down unless there is a credible mechanism to enforce compliance. For more in-depth military analysis, real-time combat footage, and tactical breakdowns, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Battlefield Report News. Stay informed, stay ahead.